All right, we are back. We're going to take a look at creating a Google site and some of the editing options and some of the layout options that we have available. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a blank site. And this is not as complicated as it seems. You can browse a gallery. People have uploaded their own Google sites and you can use those as templates. I like just a plain blank one that I can edit as necessary. I'm going to call this a Google Site Tutorial Sample. It gives you the URL for the Google site. Here's the sites.google. Here's our organization, and then this will be at the end, Google Sites Tutorial. We can select a theme that we would like, and when you do that, you can choose the various looking themes. I'll just choose the first one, and let's see, let's choose simple. All right, we've got our theme chosen, and when we've got that, we say create, and then it will create the site for us. All right, so here's our site. When you look at this, you see we've got our name up here. We have our sharing options. In this case, the sharing is people in the district can access it. You know, if there are some buildings like an organization. Here's our settings tool, our little cog. We can add new pages from here, and we can edit the page from here. So we're going to start with the editing the page, right? So here's our setup for editor. We've got something very similar to what you see in most Microsoft Office applications and softwares. You have your fonts, formatting, you have bullets and numbering. You can set your alignment, your justification, right, left, center, some HTML tags. You can add hyperlinks. All of that is pretty similar. You have an insert option. We can insert images, subpages, gadgets. You can tinker around with gadgets, text boxes, and the like. And then there are some things that you'll maybe use a little bit more, such as Drive, where you can insert documents, images, spreadsheets, these kinds of things that you've uploaded to your Drive folder, which is a nice place to keep everything in one location. Formatting, pretty standard formatting. You can insert tables. It gives you the option for setting up your table. And this, if you have a table, you're going to want to use this quite a bit for your editing. And then you have a layout. The layout here tells us what the site actually looks like. And if you look, this one is set up as a one-column simple layout. So when we look at this, what you have is you have a title, and then this is your one big field that we're working in. If you also notice that there's a little pane on the left, and those are all things that we'll talk about how to manage and change as necessary. So let's start by putting together something that is in two columns. Let's say we want to have something in two columns. So we switch this to two columns. There's our, this is two columns with a line at the top for text and a line at the bottom for text. And you can see that that's what we have. Here's our two fields. They're indicated by a gray dotted line. This is just the title of our page, and we've got our two fields here. We can put in a title at the top. We can have something at the bottom, and then we can put some stuff here, some stuff on the left. You can copy this and paste it over on this side and say we have some stuff on the right. Okay, pretty straightforward. what we can do at this point is we can start looking at inserting some things. So for example, we're going to insert an image on the left. So it's going to go to our drive. Here are some of the things that we have as options. Some things that I've put in my drive. All right, so I'm going to add this. I'm going to put this onto my site. It's just an image that I uploaded to Drive, and we'll see if it uploads it. All right, so it looks like we're having a little bit of trouble inserting some of the things from our Drive. So what I can do instead is let's try looking at inserting an image. Whoops. What we'll do is we'll play with some of the other formatting options that we have access to. So what we'll do is we will save what we've got so far. This is what it looks like, and then we want to preview as a viewer and see what we see. Okay. So maybe you want to look at this and say, I need some lines. I need to set this off. I need to set this off. You can do all of that in some settings. First of all, let's look at some of our page settings. If we say we want to allow attachments and allow comments, let's say we do this with everything, you can see now what that looks like. I can add comment at the bottom. I can add files here, just upload files, and my title is still there. If I go back to page settings and I say I don't want the page title, then what will end up happening is that title of the page goes away. What I like personally is to not necessarily allow comments, but I like the page title, and the attachments depends on the page. In this case, I'm going to keep it. So there's my files that I can add to that. The other thing that I can do is I can look at my site layout. The layout of the site are things like your sidebar, your footer that's down here, your navigation bars at the top. All of that is the site layout, which is slightly different than the site layout when you're editing. In the editor only allows you to work with the stuff here that you're working on. So here I have a sidebar, and you can see the sidebar here is kind of grayed, which means that the button has been enabled. So we click it, it goes away. Here's our header. If we click that, our header disappears. Horizontal navigation bar. What this does is this gives us some tabs that we can use across the top. And then of course there's a footer that you can use if you like to have something at the bottom of your page. All of this is in the site layout, which is different than the editor. And this is something that's a little bit tricky to remember. So I'm going to keep this horizontal navigation pane right here, and I'm going to close this. I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to say, let's go back to sharing. And in this case, like everything else, the sharing, you have the options of people with links, people in district with the link, or very specific people. So I'm going to make this public on the web. Anybody can see anything, right? So now that's set up. I'm going to go back to the Google Site tutorial, and I'm going to add a page. So the page I'm going to add is sample site page 2. Right? Select a location. Top level means it's just its own separate page. If it's under home, that means it's kind of a subset of the home page. So I'm going to keep this one separate all by itself, and I'm going to say create. In the create, you'll see I've got the same options now as an editor. I can change the layout to 3 columns. I can change the layout to 3 columns with some headers and footers. I can do a left sidebar. Depends on what you need your page to look like. So we'll go to simple 3 column. Here I've got left, I've got center, and I've got right. I've got all of these things. I have the options to add files. I have a comment. I have a title. All of that is something that we can change in the page settings. So let's make this, and this, and let's make it a little bigger. And let's make it a different font. Okay, so here's all of our 3 columns set up. I'm going to save that. And now I am still on the sample site page. That's my title. I'm going to go here, go to my page settings. I'm going to not allow attachments and not allow comments. So that kind of cleans up my page a little bit there. All right, now I'm good. What I'd like to do though is I'd like to add sample site page 2 as a tab across the top. So I'm going to go here to edit site layout, which is where I have my horizontal navigation, the header, sidebars, all of that stuff. And I'm going to add a page, and it gives me all the pages that I have created. So I'm going to select that one. It's highlighted. I click OK, and it goes to there. Now the style, I can either do boxes or tabs or links. So let's take a look. We've seen some boxes. If you look here, that's a box. Let's look at tabs and see how that looks. See what we think. So those are tabs. And let's say we decide instead I like links. I'm going to go here, and they just look like links like this. Or we go back to boxes because I like that the best. They're standalone clickable buttons. That's the one I like. And when I like what I've done with that, I will say to close that. Alright, that is pretty much everything we're going to need. If I can get this to load a document, which we've had some trouble, let's try this and see if we can load a document. I have a Google Site tutorial that I'd like to add, but we're having some trouble. It's not liking this very well. I'm not quite sure why. Alright, we'll check on that a little bit, and we'll call it good. It's just very, very slow today. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to stop this, and alright, so we're going to go ahead and close this up, and we'll look at maybe some detailed pieces in other videos.